Hello and welcome to Too Many Movies, the podcast where we discuss DVDs, Blu-rays, and even the occasional VHS tape. I'm your host, Hal, and Perry, welcome back.
I'm surprised you let me back on this thing, dude. I thought I was banned after forcing you to watch Tom and Jerry the last time we did this.
That's true. That was
you did not have a good time with that.
Yeah, actually, I've been banned. I don't know how you got into recording. What is this?
Yeah, I think I hijacked it, and I'm surprised. Even despite you being so nice, let me hijack your podcast and let me still be on without kicking me out immediately. You didn't make me watch a bad movie this time. I thought for sure you're gonna make me watch, like, I don't know, what's a bad movie? Oh, the Minecraft movie. Maybe that's like a recently bad movie, or like I don't even what are bad movies these days?
What are bad movies these days? Do you have, like, I don't know, 70 hours to spare?
You definitely seen more bad movies than I have. Maybe The Room. I would have enjoyed The Room. Watch The Room. I haven't seen that yet, but yeah. You definitely see more bad movies. You probably would have a better answer to me. But no, we watched a good movie, which is.
Did.
We want to talk about that.
No, I don't want to talk about the movie we're talking about today.
Podcast out. I'll see you guys later.
See you guys. Yeah, it's funny because I was thinking, you bring up how I have seen more bad movies than you, and I'm not punishing you for Tom and Jerry the movie. First of all, not the worst movie we've ever talked about on the podcast.
Probably not.
Which is saying a lot, considering Tom and Jerry the movie is a steaming pile of shit.
It's not great.
It's not good.
Yeah, it's not great.
But
it's not a great movie.
There have been worse movies on the podcast, and because I was going through my list of movies that I own. I'm trying to figure out what I wanted to do for this episode, because recently I've been going on these one-off episodes, and it's mostly an excuse to find movies that nobody in their right mind would recommend. Ergo, why I had to force the Fear.com episode and the Gene Generation episode. And so, but honestly, I couldn't think of a movie that I felt vibed with your stylings, and I just was kind of struggling.
What are my stylings for you? Because I only have like 10 videos on my channel.
Normal.
I know my stylings.
I didn't want. No, I didn't want to.
You want normie?
No, I just didn't want to find a movie that was so terrible that it scares you away from the podcast forever.
No, I would have told. If you told me to watch, I can't make it bad. If you told me to watch Food Fight, for example, like, I would have been down to.
You would have been down to clown for Food Fight.
Yeah, no, I would have been down to tear that movie apart. Or Twilight. Like, I would have loved to watch Twilight and take it apart. Like, no, like, you could have drawn any. Dude, I just watched. I didn't just watch a couple months ago. I watched 50 Shades of Grey for the first time, and it was so bad, but it was so, like, amazingly, like, it was so funny bad. Like, I was so amazed, but I would have been down to talk about those bad movies.
All right, Mr. Big Boy Pants. How would you feel about watching Killer Pussy?
Yeah, we can watch that.
Gotcha, bitch.
Let me look at that. What is that? I've never heard of it.
No, Killer Pussy is an episode I did a couple years back with Shinrab Jira. Go fuck yourself. Shadow ban me. No, good guy, Rob. We love Rob.
I have to watch that episode.
Yeah, it's a good. It's a classic. Anyway, we're getting off topic. Point is,
we are definitely off topic.
Point is, no, I didn't want to scare you away, so I thought, what's a perfectly normal movie we can talk about? And then I remembered, hey, one of your first episodes we ever did was on a Tarantino movie, Pulp Fiction. Rules, by the way, obviously, it's fucking Pulp Fiction. So I thought, let's continue the tradition of having you on the podcast, and we talk about another Tarantino movie that I happen to own. Hey, look at that. I have Inglorious Basterds, a film by Quentin Tarantino.
What a coincidence.
Yeah, how about that? What are the odds I have a Blu-ray of this movie? Well, it's not that crazy. It's one of the most famous Tarantino films ever made. Of course, I have it on Blu-ray. So was this your first time watching it?
Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely my first time watching. I've heard of it, and you actually pointed out. I forgot I did this, but apparently I put this on my watch list on my Letterboxd. So I've been wanting to watch it. I guess it's a perfect excuse to actually sit down and watch it. But
that's another thing I thought about whenever I'm kind of struggling to recommend a movie when I have a guest on, because obviously, like I said, I'm not I'm not always gonna just be like, all right, guest whoever, we're gonna talk about Killer Pussy. It's like, no, sometimes you have to just think logically. What am I gonna talk about with somebody? And you sometimes
you're allowed to make sense for sure.
Yeah, and sometimes I go to people's watch list and I sift through trying to figure out, okay, what do they have in their watch list that I also have in my collection? And let me tell you, that is a very slim Venn diagram. Okay, so,
I can imagine so
yeah,
for sure.
but the good news is I did find Inglorious Basterds. You know what? It's one of those movies. It's one of those movies that I feel like
it is a movie of all time.
A lot of people have in their watch list, you know, because they either haven't gotten to it yet, but they have heard of it. And yeah, no, but you know what? I'm glad we watched it because it had been a long time since I had last watched it. The last time I watched it was 2019, and that was a long time ago by this point. So
yeah, what is that? 6 years ago?
6 years. Jesus. Yeah. So
I was a sophomore in college. Oh my god.
I was
I'm getting old.
Junior in college. Wait a minute.
Oh my god. Wait, are we a year apart? I thought you were 2 years older than me. Because aren't you the same age as James?
I'm 98. Yeah.
You're 90. Oh yeah, James is pretty old. I forgot.
Yeah, he's an old man.
He's got that what's his name? John Wick.
John Wick.
Blanking on his name. Not John Wick, the actor that plays John Wick.
Keanu Reeves.
How do I forget his name? He's got the Keanu Reeves perplexion on him. Like he's been around for a long time, but he still looks like he's 40. So like
right. I guess 1998 was a long time ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. She's probably like a vampire or something. But yeah, no, I'm glad that you forced me, quote unquote, to watch this movie.
I know. This is your
really
punishment for Tom and Jerry the movie. How dare you?
I couldn't have asked for a better punishment. Thank you for that. But going into this movie, I was expecting one thing, and I'll tell you about that one thing. But I came out with another thing. I wasn't mad or like, I was mostly surprised in like how it gave me the other thing and it so like worked.
Elaborate
on
I
guess
that.
It's kind of, so you know, when I saw like the advertisements for this, I might have saw a trailer or two for this movie. I was thinking that this is going to be like a modern interpretation of 12 Angry Men. I think I said that name right. The movie about the 12 convicts. It's a World War II movie where 12 convicts go to war. They're in this guerrilla warfare group.
I'm going to stop you right there. 12 Angry Men is is that movie where it's the jury in the trying to decide. Oops. Yeah, that's the jury movie. Great movie, 12 Angry Men. We talked about it on the podcast. I think what you're talking about is The Dirty Dozen.
Yep, The Dirty Dozen. That's exactly what good God. I knew I was going to get that. I should have looked that up.
I'm glad we stopped before you really embarrassed yourself there.
Thank you for. I already did, but thank you for. The Dirty Dozen. What's The Dirty Dozen? Fun fact is the inspiration to a lot of like modern movies like Guardians of the Galaxy, the good Suicide Squad movie. It's actually very influential, and I thought this movie was going to be a homage to that, like pretty much I know there's another movie called Inglorious Basterds.
Yes,
but I've never heard of that movie. So I'm not.
Well, you heard of it just now because you just said it.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, can't highlight it, but no, I thought it was going to be kind of like that. You know,
sure.
And that style of movies of Dirty Dozen, where it's like, you know, about these guys, you know, kicking some Nazi ass and taking names, chewing gum, kicking butt, you know, all that, you know, Duke Nukem analogy, whatever. But
Balls of Steel.
Balls of Steel, right? And I thought it was gonna be like this pure action movie because, you know, Quentin Tarantino is known for his action, but no, it was more about the Nazis and the people that they hurt. Like I thought that was actually an interesting interesting direction to take this movie. And I'm sure like all the advertisements were only advertising, you know, Brad Pitt, Ryan from The Office, the bear Jew, like kicking ass or whatever.
Right.
But no, it was mostly about the other people. And like I said in my Letterboxd review, but they humanize the Nazis, but they still, without like making them relatable or redeemable, they just make them more insufferable, more self-asshole that they are. And like I thought that was actually a brilliant way of like kind of like this deconstructing these villains, because usually when you see Nazis in movies or in media, they're just like, you know, they're just you know, irredeemable monsters, like these
Yes.
demons, like, as they should be depicted. You know, they are irredeemable monsters, but you never really get to know who they are or why they're monsters. And once you get to know, like Hans Landa, played by Christoph Waltz, and the other guy, where is he? He played Baron Zemo in the Marvel movies.
Yeah, Daniel Bruhl's character.
Yeah, damn, bro, Frederick Zoller. Like when you get
Zoller.
to know them, like they're pretty much like the top of their game, you know. Yeah, sorry, Frederick Zoller, excuse me. Um, like, you know, Hans Landa, he's so good at hunting Jews, he's known as a Jew hunter. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's infamous within that world of like the Nazis, and like he's put on this pedestal as the Jew hunter. And then uh Daniel Bruhl's character, he's he's so good at killing Nazi enemies that they made a whole movie about him, and he's starring in it. You know, like that.
Yeah.
That's they're the top of their cream of the crop. They're the top of their game. But like what Tarantino does with writing these characters, they're pretty much depicted as kind of bored with their positions, kind of like they're put into these positions without really asking for it, and they're not really interested in doing it, which is like it's a common trope you use for most like American protagonists in American movies. Like, you know, I just watched this movie recently. I hate that I'm using this movie as a comparison. But Megamind, you know, Megamind, what's his face? Jonah Hill, not Jonah Hill, Metro Man. Like
Also
his whole
starring
thing
Brad
was
Pitt.
like, also, oh yeah, that's Brad Pitt. Yeah, Brad Pitt's character. But Metro Man, like he was felt forced by society. We live in one of those. He felt forced by the people around him to be this hero, and he never really wanted to do it. So he you know, halfway through the, well, not halfway through the movie, in the beginning of the movie, he fakes his death so he can pursue another passion that he has.
Yeah.
And there's other movies that I could probably do good, but that's like the first one that came to my head. I literally just watched last week. But
Yeah.
it's kind of like, yeah, good.
No, I'm just thinking because like I was thinking about,
That's what I took from it.
No, because I was thinking about how you said like, yeah, how it kind of humanizes the Nazis. I mean, because that is just reality. The Nazis were real people and actually did these things. And I know a common thing that us as a culture love to do, you know, with hindsight being 2020, is we don't really like humanizing Nazis because they did such horrible things. It's really hard to imagine normal people doing that stuff, but it's true. Like there were actual people on the other end. There wasn't just this, you know, large automaton that was just a bunch of robots pulling off these horrible atrocities. There were normal people like you and me on that other end.
People who probably didn't 100% agree with what they were doing, but they felt forced to
Yeah.
do it probably.
Well,
Which doesn't justify what they were doing. But
no.
like,
But it is
and
interesting how the movie portrays that. There's a movie, I don't want to get too off topic with Inglorious Basterds, but I do want to recommend this because, I mean, this is the perfect opportunity for me to recommend this movie. There's a movie from 1949. It's from France. It's called Le Silence de la Mer. And that's my pretentious French way of saying it. I'll say it the American way. Le Silence de la Mer. Or The Silence of the Sea is what the English title is, but the French title is Le Silence de la Mer. It's a French film from 1949, Jean-Pierre Melville, and it's about these.
Amazon Prime.
Oh, it's on Amazon Prime. Very good. It's it's about like these Nazis taking over this small French town, and they're you know, because they're in Nazi occupied France, and this man and his niece live on a farm, and one of the high ranking Nazi officials takes over their farmhouse. He's like stays there, and they refuse to talk to him. So every time he walks into their room and tries to start up a conversation, they just sit there in silence and don't say anything back to him. And that's their way of, you know, kind of going against his Nazism. Anyway, the movie's brilliant, but it does have this main character who's a Nazi official, and the movie portrays him as this very intelligent, very passionate for the arts kind of guy, and it's fascinating. I love it. It's one of my all-time favorite movies I discovered in college film classes, and I highly recommend
Okay, I
it
was
to
gonna ask,
people.
how did you even discover it? And I was like, he probably discovered film class, and you just told
Yes.
me.
Yeah, it was a film class. Anyway, but
Yeah.
that's a movie that does kind of humanize Nazi characters. Obviously, not to the extent of this movie. Because I do agree. I think humanize, I don't know if I necessarily use that word, but it does kind of make
What word
them.
would you use?
I don't know. Like, I feel like it just characterizes these Nazis as more than just, typical German accented guy who just says things in a funny accent and says Heil Hitler every 5 seconds. That's usually what Nazis are in American media. Whereas
Yeah.
here, I feel as though, Hans Landa specifically is not your typical Nazi character. In a way, he is, because he is, very anti-Semitic and very strict, very kind of clean clothed. We like to portray Nazis as like very like high and mighty, very slick and clean, almost robotic. He is that, but he is also very intelligent and very charismatic, and that's what makes him scarier.
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah,
talk. I want to get into this. I want to talk specifically, the opening, because upon rewatch, I feel as though the opening of Inglorious Bastards is my all-time favorite. That's the part that really makes this movie special for me.
It's the perfect way to open a movie and perfect way to
Yes.
introduce Hans Landa, like
Yes.
as a character.
Yeah. So basically, the movie split into like several chapters. So chapter
Mhm.
1 is what I'm talking about, and that is basically just Hans Landa finding this this house, this French farm, and basically straight up going into the farmhouse and asking the farmer there, hey, what happened to the Jewish families surrounding us? And then eventually you're hiding a Jewish family under the floorboards, aren't you? I'm obviously, kind of like squeezing the point of this scene into like a 5-sentence description. It's obviously much longer than that. It's like 20-25 minutes long. It's a very long opening.
It's a long sequence, like pretty long for like normal movies. Like usually opening scene for normal movies like maybe the first 10-15 minutes. But it's like pretty beefy. Yeah, go ahead.
But it rules. It is so good.
It's great
because it's a great, it's crafted perfectly because it's so tense and so dreadful, because you don't see the family underneath the floorboards at first, but you just see the farmer and his daughters being a little uneasy, and you just think, oh, it's just because the Nazis are that intimidating. But then the camera lowers at some point and you see underneath the floorboards, you see the family under there, and it's just like, shit.
I knew they were hiding something that they didn't want them to find.
Of course,
I didn't know like if the family members themselves were Jewish, they're doing a really good job of hiding it, or like if they knew that where the Jewish family were hiding, but they didn't want to disclose it. I didn't know they were actually under the house, like while they're having this conversation. And the way that he was so slick, and like he was so confident that he knew the Jews on the floorboards. They start talking in English, which I thought, like they're just talking English, so like American viewers wouldn't get bored by them talking in different languages and reading subtitles. But no, he did that on purpose.
Yeah.
So the Jews wouldn't know what they were talking about. Like that's such a brilliant.
He says at one point they don't speak English, do they? And the guy's like, no.
I was like, oh, that's smart.
Yeah,
that's so cool. Like Tarantino is such a good writer. Like I'm so jealous of him. Like, he ate this game.
Oh, it's brilliant. So I mean, we got to talk about Christoph Waltz's performance as Hans Landa, because he's easily the most famous part of this movie, I think.
And I said before we're recording, he's the only fictional character on this cast that has his own Wikipedia page.
Yeah,
like I'm looking at the Wikipedia right now. He's the only person besides the famous, like obviously Adolf Hitler has his own Wikipedia page, but like Hans Landa is the only fictional character that has on Wikipedia pages, which is that's a testament to how
that makes sense, because he was such an iconic character when this first came out. I mean, he's still to this day seen as a very iconic cinematic character, and that's thanks mostly to
I didn't know personally, but now after watching the movie, I can definitely see why.
Yeah, no, it's thanks to Christoph Waltz's performance. He wasn't that well known before this movie, I don't think. I think this was like his big international break. Like, obviously he was an actor in things before this, but he wasn't internationally known until this movie. And it's I mean, clearly what a performance. I think this is a performance he won an Oscar for, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're probably right. I'm
Yeah.
looking at his Wikipedia page right now. I'm just trying to see all the movies he was in. Yeah, all the movies he was in before this were kind of, they look like no name movies.
Yeah, or like
And then
like low key German or Austrian films, probably.
yeah.
Yeah,
And then he started becoming more mainstream. He was in
right.
Altia Battle Angel, which I don't know if you know what that movie
I
is.
have seen Alita Battle Angel. I've seen
Okay,
Django.
I
I've
said
seen
it wrong.
Spectre. He hasn't
He
been
was
in a
in.
lot recently. I think one of the
Oh,
last
yeah.
major things he was in was like either French Dispatch or the Teodoro Pinocchio, if I'm remembering correctly.
He was in Pinocchio. Yeah, he's
Mhm.
in The Portable Door. Old guy. I don't know what that is. He's gonna be in Frankenstein.
Oh, okay, that's cool. But
Yeah,
I mean, obviously he's been in a lot of stuff since, but I think Inglorious Bastards is still probably most definitely his most famous role. And
for
honestly,
sure.
it's no secret why. Just yeah,
Yeah.
one of the things that makes Hans Landa so intimidating is the fact that he's so charismatic. He's always smiling, and when he's not, it's more weird to see him not smiling, and that in turn makes him a lot more terrifying.
Hmm.
He doesn't scream, he doesn't get angry. He's very matter of fact. He takes his job very seriously. He treats it as that, his job, and he's just going around. This scene specifically, the fact, like, one of the first things he does when he sits down in their house and the farmer offers him, a glass of wine, he goes, "No, I want a glass of milk." It's like, huh. Um, but the fact that he makes drinking a glass of milk terrifying is
It's like, oh, that's
incredible.
not what I expected him to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and like I feel like he he's the type of person that he knows he's the smartest person in the room, but he doesn't
Mm,
want to reveal that until
right.
it's necessary.
Yes,
And I think that's
absolutely.
what also makes him terrifying as well.
Oh yeah, especially like, what I mean, by the time he gets to straight up asking the farmer, "You're harboring enemies of the state, are you not?" That's when you're just like,
Mhm.
"Fuck, he said it." And the farmer is just like, he knows he can't lie anymore, so he just admits it, just goes,
Yeah.
"Yes." And
I've been watching so many. Oh, sorry. Good. Good.
no, I didn't really have anything else to say. Just what were you gonna say?
I was just out. I've been watching so many like police body cam videos, which I know that's like a
Mm.
left turn from what we were talking about. But like just seeing like these criminals who they're guilty, they're guilty. Like not only
Hmm.
because like the video title literally tells you they're guilty, but by the way they're acting, how they're like being shifty, how they're not really their story doesn't really sound like it was coherent, like they're making up on the spot. Like just seeing that process of them like finally going down to the truth and being like, well, I might as well just come clean because like y'all obviously know what happened. Like
Hmm.
it's kind of similar to, obviously it's a little more dramatized here,
Right.
but it's still the same process. He's still using the same like psychological techniques that those police officers or investigators are doing, and like even now, like
Hmm.
in today's days that he was doing back then. I just thought that was pretty fascinating.
Yeah,
Like
no,
just his tactics.
I'm both, like I said, it's both very tense and interesting, but it's dreadful at the same time. Like, you just have a pit in your stomach the entire time.
Yeah,
It's brilliant. It is,
yeah,
and it culminates in, Hans Landa walking away being like, "Auf Wiedersehen," and then the Nazis come in. I love the detail of, as the Nazi soldiers are walking in, Hans Landa is responding to them and calling them ladies, implying that he's
right.
trying to make it seem like he's talking to the farmer's daughters
That
walking
was
back
so
in.
shitty.
Yeah, that
Because
was great.
because how he reveals it, so like the camera only shows the boots, and I'm like, wait a minute, I don't think the girls are wearing like boots, and then it
I
zooms
don't
back
think the
out and it
French
reveals the women.
farmers are wearing Nazi boots. That's kind of
Exactly.
weird.
Like, wait a minute, wait a minute, he got me. Yeah, no, that was a good reveal. Like
Yeah.
he's very shifty. He's one
Yeah.
of those villains that you hate with all your soul and like your guts or whatever,
Yeah.
but you love watching him work.
Yeah, he's a
And like
total shithead, but he needs to
yeah,
be.
yeah, exactly. And he never really loses because like
Hmm.
the moment where he catches the Inglorious Basterds doing what they're doing, he catches Ryan from The Office and Brad Pitt, um, like, and yeah, you think, oh, he's just gonna kill all of them. He's gonna warn like all his Nazi brother and whatever. But no, he's like, no, I actually want to like help you guys out and like in exchange for my like immunity. I was like, wait a minute. he has to be lying. And Brad Pitt's like, yeah, you're lying about this. This is too good to be true. He's like, nah, no shit. Like, I'll let you all go. I'll let you do your operation. I just want full immunity. And it's like, oh wow, he's not only is he a shifty bastard, but he's and loyal. Like he's only really in it for himself. Which is like, I think that's like, it's so smart from the do that. But it's also like tells you that like how like evil messed up he is. He doesn't even believe what he's. I mean, he probably did, but he's I just said, he's more in it for himself than he is for whatever vision that the Nazis or Hitler had.
Yeah,
I think that's fascinating.
Well, because like he's very clear on that from the very beginning when he's talking to the farmer in the beginning. He's talking about, oh, all these German soldiers already came through and, you know, tried to find where the Jews were hiding. Meanwhile, I'm not thinking like a German soldier. I'm thinking like a Jew. And, you know, he talks about how that's why he was hired. You know, he sees his being hired by the Third Reich as them, you know, viewing him as being helpful to their needs. But he views himself as kind of above the Third Reich in that regard. You know, because he doesn't call the
Jews subhuman or that. He calls them people. Like he's thinking like a person would think in that situation. Right. That's why he's such a good.
But he's still incredibly anti-Semitic, even though he does see them as people. He still does not respect them.
No, for sure.
Which is so he's still very much anti-Semitic, which is why he's fighting for the Nazis. But he doesn't, line up 1-to-1 with Hitler. He sees more so him joining the Nazis as means for his own gain in life rather than means for the Third Reich itself.
Yeah, no, it's kind of like he wants to see how far he can get in his own talents. Like he doesn't really care about like pushing any agendas like that, except his own agendas, and this because this is just a game to him essentially. He's just kind of like entertaining himself. Like I understand that for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, that makes an incredibly fun villain.
Yeah, I did want to talk about Frederick Zoller's character.
Sure,
also he's pretty fascinating too.
He's interesting. I will agree. I feel like the movie maybe could have developed him a little better because I think
they probably could.
Because I talked about this in my review because I think I obviously love the opening. It's my favorite part of the movie. I love the basement scene, and we can get to that later. And I love the ending because I mean the ending is pure Tarantino schlock. It's phenomenal. But I do feel as if the scenes kind of in the middle there are a little on the not uninteresting and not awful side, but they're not as engaging as those scenes I just listed off. Because I like Brad Pitt. I like the Bastards and their scenes. I'm not as in love with them as I am, you know, the first scene with Hans Landa or the basement scene or the ending. I think it's fine. I think it is good. I think my least engaged part of the movie is definitely the scenes with Shoshana in the cinema and her scenes with Zoller. Again, not awful. I think the actors do a phenomenal job in those scenes. And I do agree. I think Zoller is an interesting character. But I also just don't feel as though the movie takes the time to develop him in any meaningful way. I think you know exactly where his story ends once you see him. Because I feel like I've seen it played out before. Again, though, I think Daniel Bruhl does a great job, and I think him as a character is still very interesting. What are your thoughts?
I actually liked his involvement. I do agree he was a little underdeveloped compared to like, you know, Hans Zoller or even like the actress, even though she had less screen time than probably most of the main players. But
Bridget von Hammerschmark.
Yes,
I love the fake German names in this movie. It rules.
Yes, this is awesome. But I just think the idea of a guy who's praised for being like this awesome Nazi person, like pretty much like an American or GI Joe of the Nazis. Yeah, it's such a funny concept to me because it's like you're like, and he's so proud of it too. It's like being like a GI Joe of the Nazis is like saying you're the star player of like a little league football team and you're 23. Like that's pretty much the comparison to it. And I think the movie kind of like knows that that's kind of like a weird not weird, but like kind of a null thing for him to be bragging on, because I feel like you see that through what's her name? Shoshana.
Shoshana.
Because like
Yeah.
Shoshana,
Yeah.
because like, she literally got her family killed by Nazis. So
Right.
anything that Daniel Brawl can do will never impress her. You know that for a fact. It'll never impress her.
Right, exactly.
And I think this is funny that like, they frame him at like, there's like that scene where we find out, oh, he has all these medals for killing like, or helping the Nazis out and things like that, and it's like nobody cares. Like, you're a Nazi.
Right.
And Shoshana's
Yeah.
the perfect like vehicle for that feeling, that emotion.
Well, it's to show that Zoller is being, I mean, because Zoller being praised for his military accomplishments, that's not really an inherently American thing. That is seen in basically any country that has a working military,
No, for sure. I'm
want
just saying, like, the American, as if it was flipped to us, like we would see that here. Like, he would be the hero of this movie if he wasn't like, if this was like an American movie and it was like a military movie.
I mean, if it was
if
it was a movie made in Germany at that time, he absolutely
and
would
then
be
he'll
seen
be
as the hero. Yeah. Because at that time, he's fighting for country, he's fighting for national pride. That's, I mean, the movie he's in is literally called Nation's Pride. He's doing it for the nation of Nazi Germany. And he's obviously getting all this praise, and there's this one person not giving him that praise, and that is Shoshana, hiding out in Nazi occupied Paris, running the cinema. But the fact that he keeps going back to her shows that he kind of sees her as a bit of a prize to win, because he sees her as an obstacle. She's this one person who's not giving him the slightest bit of attention, and he finds that fascinating, almost like a game. Like, oh, I gotta keep pestering her because I'm the top dog here. I'm getting a movie made about me.
Exactly, and I'm starring in it.
Yeah, because I feel like he does have maybe not regrets, but he definitely is not as impressed with all the praise he's getting from the Fuhrer and all these.
He's tired of it.
Yeah, he's tired of it.
Hans Landa, excuse me. Go ahead.
Yeah, but he's tired of it, but he still wants that attention, because that's why during the climax, when he goes to see Shoshana in the projection room, and he just straight up barges in and goes, "How dare you speak to me like that? Do you know who I am?" So clearly he does appreciate the praise and attention he's getting for his accomplishments. He's probably just tired of getting it from the same people over and over again, and that is other Nazis. So he wants praise and attention from somebody who's not been giving it to him, because he demands it from everybody.
Right. Yeah. I definitely picked up on that a little bit too. Like, I think he's just a fascinating character, and you're absolutely right when you said that. I don't think they really developed him as much. He wasn't really,
because I know by the time we get to the projectionist room where his story goes, it's like, okay, it ends here. And
for me, I didn't know that.
Right. It's not as surprising looking back. I don't think it's bad. I think you're right in saying it is an interesting character. I think the stuff is still there. I just don't think it's as fully engaging for me to watch as, again, the Hans Landa or the basement scene is. It's still good. And I think, and like I keep saying, Daniel Brühl does an immaculate job, because he's not unlikable. Like, he is kind of pestering Shoshana throughout the movie, and it does come across as weird, but it's never to the point that I'm like, he's not that big of a douchebag. He is. There are moments where it's like, it feels like he's genuinely trying to make a connection with her. And obviously that all goes out the window by the time you get to the projectionist room and he barges in like, "How dare you speak to me like that?" It's like, okay, the mask is completely off. It was all a front. He doesn't actually care for her as a person. He doesn't actually care for her as a person. He cares about winning her affection, whether it's legitimate or not.
Right. I completely agree.
Yeah.
Again, like I said, I think he's a fascinating character. I think it's a fascinating concept of like just having his character being like this big and proud Nazi and him being praised for it in a movie that's very Nazi, anti-Hitler. So I just think that's a cool concept.
Of course,
but I do agree that it could have been fleshed out, and it's not as interesting as the other scenes that you talked about.
Yeah, and I do think I think also I'm just not as big a fan of Shoshana as I feel like I should be. I like her.
Yeah.
I think she is a good character, and you understand her completely. I mean, again, her family gets massacred at the beginning, and then her ultimate goal is, I'm going to burn down the theater with all the high-ranking Nazi officials in it. It's like, okay, it could not get more simpler than that. If you're honestly like, why would she want to do that? You've obviously not been paying attention.
Yeah, I've not been paying attention.
But it's like,
no, I think she's a cool character. I don't think she was like with Zoller. I don't think she's as developed as she probably should have been.
I think Zoller has a little bit more interesting aspects to him in that regard.
Yeah.
Because with Shoshana, it's just, oh, she wants revenge. Granted. Correct, like good for her, but at the same time, there isn't really an interesting angle with that. I guess the whole we're gonna burn down a cinema with all the Nazi officials in it, that's a little eccentric and out there. And the whole like, I'm gonna make a movie that only the Nazis will watch, and she literally films herself being like, this is the face of the Jew that killed the Nazis, and it's like, okay, that's pretty cool. That is out there and not something you see in other typical Nazi films. I don't know. I just feel as though that stuff doesn't come until the very end, and I feel like the beginning of showing, not the beginning, like the middle when it shows her interacting with Zoller, it's kind of typical stuff I feel like we've seen before.
I agree.
None of this is bad. I don't want it to make it seem like I'm saying, oh, this is bad because X, Y, and Z. It's like, no, this stuff is all handled very well. But I'm just saying, when it comes to Tarantino, I feel like he's a very good director at making me be able to be engaged with everything going on. Pulp Fiction, I'm never bored with any scene. I'm never like turning my head away from the scene. Every scene in Pulp Fiction has me engaged. Every character has me engaged. Whereas with here, it's like, yeah, these are good characters, but I just prefer these other ones. Can we get back to those scenes?
Right. And speaking of characters that were barely in the movie, Brad Pitt's character, I was surprised at how little he was in the movie. Like, maybe he was in the movie enough, but like I thought, and he was a fascinating character. Like he's very hell bent on killing Nazis. All
Aldo the Apache.
Aldo the Apache. Yeah, exactly like that. But like his determination, like him, like being so sadistic and wanting like 100 scalps from each of his men. Like, how do you get like that? Like, how do you get to that point in your life where you want to be that sadistic against your enemies? Like, I just thought that was so fascinating, and they didn't really go into his backstory or anything like that. Like, they kind of did, but like
I think
he wasn't in the movie as much as I thought he was going to be.
I think it's literally just, I'm crazy. I'm a crazy high-ranking army official, and I just get to kill people as a job. This rules. He doesn't even really care who the Nazis are. I don't think for a second he genuinely cares what the Nazis do or what their politics are. He just knows he gets to kill them, and he's like, cool.
It's
awesome.
kind of like I don't know if you ever like Doom or Wolfenstein, but like
but
those
I'm familiar
games
enough with them. Yeah.
Wolfenstein in particular, because that's actually you killing Nazis in those games. They don't humanize Nazis at all. It's just a literal excuse to kill a bunch of people, and all you know is that they're Nazis, so you don't feel bad for doing it. Like that's pretty much him. Like he's literally playing real life Wolfenstein.
Yeah, exactly. The thing with Brad Pitt is, he's not in the movie as much, even though he's top billed. Literally on the front of this Blu-ray, it says Brad Pitt Inglorious Basterds, and it's like he's not the main character. I guess I don't know. I don't think this is necessarily a movie with a main character. I think it is more of an ensemble film, and you get different perspectives from different characters, which is totally fine. But yeah, it is weird to single out Brad Pitt specifically, because I feel as though there are other major characters that I feel like have more of an active role in the movie.
But they don't have the star power that Brad Pitt does, unfortunately. Like even Ryan from The Office, everyone loves Ryan from The Office. He's the best character in The Office. He wasn't like on the main poster, I don't think.
Right.
No, he wasn't. Not on the poster I'm looking at least. So
I mean, it's fine.
Yeah,
I get it. It's Brad Pitt. He's probably the biggest star out of all of these actors. So that's why he gets top billing, which it's fine. Whatever. Hollywood politics, I don't even really care. But yeah, is there anything else we want to say before we get into the basement scene? Because I was wondering if we could talk about that for a little bit.
Oh yeah. I guess since you gave me the floor, did you notice like the idea of film or cinema being like a prominent theme in this movie at all? Is that like a popular?
Yeah, because the movie literally takes place in a cinema for a good chunk of the movie,
and the film literally kills the Nazis.
Yeah, the film literally kills the Nazis.
Literally, film itself, like the flammable film that they use,
right? Yeah,
to burn down a building, like that. Literally, yeah,
that literally burns down the buildings. You know, you have the fact that one of the characters is in a movie in the universe of the film. You know, one of the chapters is literally called Operation Kino. It's like, okay, this is a movie made for movie buffs. It's like one of the characters is literally a film critic.
He fights alongside him. Yeah.
Michael Fassbender, before he was in the war, says like, I was a film critic. It's like, okay.
Yeah. He has that voice. Like, like that. Yeah. No, I see, you know, even though it was very ham-fisted down my throat, I didn't really pick up on that until I watched do you know the channel Wisecrack? You know what that is?
Oh, Wisecrack. I just saw a video from them that said they're ending.
Yeah. No,
that's hilarious. Well, it's funny because I was like, Wisecrack, why does that sound familiar? Oh, I used to watch their Rick and Morty videos or their film videos. Dude,
I did too.
Yeah, and I was like, what were they up to? And they're doing videos like, capitalism is a sham, America's burning down. It's like, what's happening?
Yeah.
What is this? And it's like, by the way, I'm ending the channel. It's like, I mean, judging by the recent videos he was doing where he's just doom shill, or he's literally just like he's doomer pilled at this point. It's like, yeah, maybe it's best you get off the internet if you're this depressed.
No,
I didn't watch his video.
I watched that video, but I didn't watch the political videos. I feel like if you're gonna be a film channel, stick to that. Like, don't really get into you can get into politics and the movie reviews that you're talking about. That's fine, but don't make that your main.
Yeah, and also don't expect me to take you seriously if you're the fun film bro, and then one day you're just like, hey guys, let me tell you about politics. It's like, I don't trust you for a second. Let me listen to the actual experts first.
I'll listen to Hassan Hobby or that's really the only person. Oh, I found another political YouTube channel, Shionhead. She's awesome. I love her.
Mm-hmm.
I watch those guys for my politics. I don't need to pull up to like Game Grumps or Markiplier to talk about my politics.
Hello, everybody. Let me tell you about socialist Marxism.
Exactly. Or God forbid, Doug Walker.
Hello, I'm the nostalgia critic. I'm going to tell you about the Cold War.
right. Stick to your films. You want to get political, incorporate that into your reviews. Don't make that your main topic.
Of course. I'm not saying you shouldn't have these opinions or you can't talk about these things, but I don't know. I'm going to not take that as seriously when it's from a channel when one of their most popular videos is on Rick and Morty, and also when their channel originally was like, you know, Thug Notes. I looked it up, like their oldest video.
Thug Notes. I was going to talk about that.
Yeah,
I love Thug Notes. I mean, it's a little racist nowadays. But
well, that's what I was thinking. It
got me through school.
Well, I was going to say, like, the guy who made the channel is white, and yet he's doing this stereotypical black character talking about this English literature and being like, "Yo, let me break it down for you." It's like, okay, what?
Yeah, I mean, it was entertaining, but it definitely does not age well nowadays. But back in 2015, that was cool. That was awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Wisecrack, Inglorious Basterds film.
Yeah. I watched their video Inglorious Basterds. It was pretty good, and they like opened my eyes to the cinema allegories that the movies was ham-fisting down my throat that I somehow missed. So I just want to bring that up.
I mean, it makes sense because Tarantino is very much a movie guy. You know, when you look at his movies, he's very much interested in old cinema. You know, every time you see an interview with him, he's always talking about the power of movies, the power of cinema. So it makes perfect sense that one of the allegories in this movie is that film killed the Nazis. And he literally had film kill the Nazis.
Right.
You know, because it's talking about the importance of films and showing how powerful they can be, because films can be powerful. I will say, I think Tarantino recently, I did kind of want to bring this up. He's a little nuts when it comes to his thoughts on films nowadays, because I don't know if I'm misconstruing this, but I think he literally believes that film as a concept ended in 2019, and that anything post 2020 is not really considered cinema, which is
did he explain
bizarre.
why he came to that conclusion? Did he explain that?
That's what because I don't know. I think it's because just literally because of the streaming wars and because of COVID kind of closing down theaters and how people aren't flocking to the cinemas as much anymore. And it's like, okay, I don't know, because maybe I'm misconstruing what he's saying, but I don't know. I do get. I mean, even if he wasn't saying that outright, like, oh, movies ended in 2019. I mean, he has always had this kind of uppity nature when it comes to modern movies and saying like, yeah, they're not as good anymore. And it's like, in ways, sure.
You're not looking hard enough, buddy.
Right, exactly.
Like, it's funny because I think the CEO of Netflix made a comment like that recently, where he's like, "Oh, not a lot of people are going to cinemas anymore because like you have Netflix and like Hulu, like all these streaming services are providing all these amazing movies at home." But then you look back at like what came out, the movies that came out recently, like the Minecraft movie making $110 million, Sinners doing really well in the box office, both financially and critically. Like everyone's talking about Sinners. Sinners is an amazing movie you haven't seen. I'm sure you've seen it already, but
oh yeah, I love it.
Yeah, you have all these movies, and even 2 years ago when Barbenheimer came out, like Barbie and Oppenheimer both made a lot of money in the box office. Barbie more than Oppenheimer probably, but
yeah.
Regardless,
but Oppenheimer made a shit ton, surprisingly.
No, it still made a lot of money. It's not as much as Barbie, but that's the side of the Mario movie made more than that too. But the point is, people are still going to movies. Like,
yeah,
the cinema experience isn't dead. Sure, the chicken jockey community, you have your opinions on that. Like, yeah, that kind of sucks a little bit, but at least people are going to the movies and having fun.
Because I mean, to be fair, are people going to the movies as often? No, and that's not because movies are bad. First off, bad movies have always existed. And that's not to say that the bad stuff coming out now isn't horrendous. It is. I've seen the Minecraft movie. I've seen a bunch of other modern movies, and some of them can be quite painful to sit through. I get it.
No.
But to think that like, oh, movies are bad now, and people aren't going to the theaters. There's other elements. Yeah, people are busy with other things. They're not willing to go to the movies as often.
Movie tickets are expensive.
Movie tickets are expensive.
Yeah.
One thing.
I mean, I would pay it, but like, not a lot of people are going to do that.
But one thing I've grown tired of with theaters is just how disgusting they are, because they're really run down and really shitty. You walk. I mean, this was kind of highlighted through the chicken jockey meme. You look at how theaters have been, trashed, and you're just, making it harder for the theater employees. But also, even before that, theaters were gross. There was a local theater, I won't say where, but that got infested with rats, and
oh no,
yeah, I'm never going back to that theater again. Now, that theater was in dire condition. It was really shitty every time I went there, and so by the time,
it's still up now, or did it?
They opened back up, but it's like, I'm not.
Is it still shitty?
I haven't gone back because I don't want to go back because there were rats there. It's like, fuck that.
No, that's fair. Yeah, I want my rats and Ratatouille, not on my
exactly.
My chair.
Exactly.
I want to move movie.
Anyway, yeah. So I believe Tarantino is passionate for movies, but I just find it awfully dismissive to just be like, yeah, modern movies this, modern movies that, movies haven't been a thing since 2019. Like, that's very dismissive for somebody who claims to love cinema. Like, you don't love to see it evolve or change over time, which I get it. Change is weird at first. And
movies nowadays, even like the short time I've been watching movies nowadays aren't like the movies I grew up with.
Right.
But I mean, I'm still interested in watching the new stuff, because
course.
I want to see new stories and experiences, even if they're remakes of things I grew up with. But like,
because like literally one of my all-time favorite movies now, my third favorite movie, I've talked about this on the podcast, Hundreds of Beavers. That's a recent movie, and I love it. Hundreds of Beavers. I love that movie so much, and that's from the 2020s, an era, Tarantino may or may not consider to be cinema. So it's like, dude, this movie exists. It came out post 2019 and it rules. So I don't really buy this whole, oh, movies don't exist anymore because theaters are dying. That's not a thing to me. I think movies are
I've
still,
heard this.
yeah, Hundreds of Beavers.
I'll give it a watch.
Oh, dude.
Sorry, continue your save.
I mean, you got to watch Hundreds of Beavers when you can, dude.
No, I'll do it. What
Yeah.
was it on?
It's on Tubi. It's on Prime Video. It's on
I have
YouTube.
No excuse. Yeah, I'll give this a watch. This looks like a fun time.
Yeah, dude. Oh, I got to spread the word on Hundreds of Beavers. You need to get Beaver Pill, dude. It's so good.
Okay, I'll watch it maybe this weekend.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'll let you know.
Anyway,
what
were we talking about?
Sorry.
What
we're talking about the. Well, you asked me if I had anything else to say before we talk about the basement scene, and that's what I want to talk about. I guess we'll talk about the basement scene. If you want
the basement scene. Speaking of cinema, because it rules. I love this scene because it's very tense. And I love how you're watching it. And I mean, first of all, I think we might as well mention this. I think I remember this statistic correctly. I think 40% of the movie is actually in English, and the rest of it isn't, which is pretty wild for a American Western film to not be mostly in English. You know, because you have other languages. You have German and French. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense because you're in Nazi occupied.
A little bit of Italian in there.
Yeah, a little bit of Italian. You're in France. You're in Germany. You're gonna have characters speaking German and French. Obviously, you are gonna have characters speaking English. But it's just interesting that the movie is mostly in other languages. But this is one of those scenes where, you know, it's mostly in German. Because you have characters like Michael Fassbender and the other bastard characters meeting up with Diane Kruger's character, the German actress, who's a spy for the Americans, or spy for the Allies, I should say, not specifically the Americans. And it's a very tense scene because you have other Nazis in that bar area just who have no idea what's happening, and they're trying to get information. Meanwhile, these Nazis are celebrating, you know, because one of them has become a father, and it just plays out beautifully, this scene. You know, because you have that one Nazi officer. Oh, what's his name? It's Major Hellstrom, which rules, by the way. That is a great name.
A great name.
Hellstrom. That rocks.
Name for a Nazi.
And you know, because he kind of invites himself in, and they play that game where they write down characters and put like the cards on their head, and they try to guess who they are. That's a great scene. But my favorite part has to be when they're found out, and that's when, you know, he's ordering another round of drinks for them, and Michael Fassbender, who is a British officer, but he's pretending to be a German officer. At first, Major Hellstrom is a little put off by Michael Fassbender's character because the other allied characters pretending to be Nazi officers have pretty all right German accents because they are originally from that area that are fighting for the Allies. So he even he says to Hugo and the other guy, he goes like, "Oh, I know where you're from, Major Frankfurt or Major Berlin." He like names like German towns because he can recognize their accent. Meanwhile, he doesn't recognize Michael Fassbender's German accent because Michael Fassbender probably just knows basic German, or a basic enough amount of German where he can pretend to speak German, but he doesn't quite have an accent yet. And it's just it's kind of a scary scene because you're like, oh, has he been found out? But then he bullshits his way through that and makes it so then it's like, oh no, I'm actually from this area in Germany.
Very obscure town,
and then he's able to play it off. But what he's not able to play off is how he orders 3 drinks, which rules. Okay, so we gotta set this up. So he goes like, oh, I'll have, you know, order 3 rounds, and he does the British 3, where he puts his thumb and pinky down and has his 3 fingers up. But Major Hellstrom immediately finds out that way, like, oh, this guy's not really German, because then later on, the actress, what's her name, von Hammersmark, she says like, oh, he ordered it wrong. The German 3 is by putting your pointer finger and your thumb down, and you have your middle finger, pinky, and the other finger. What is this? This is not the index finger, is it?
And I can't see her, if your face came on, but the
Yeah.
index finger, I think that's supposed to be the finger next to your pinky.
Yeah. Okay, so the index finger.
Yeah.
So yeah, you order it with your middle finger, index finger, and pinky finger up. And that's the German 3.
Like that. You meant the okay.
Yeah, exactly. Just straight up, like,
Okay.
just saying, like, yeah, like the okay hand signal. That's how you order, or at least just those 3 fingers up. That's the German 3 when you order drinks. Which is such an obscure fact that no American's gonna know.
I missed that. I had to rewind the movie to pick up on how he found them out.
Yeah,
and I still missed what he
because
said.
like I remember first watching it and being like, oh, what happened? Like, how did he figure it out? And then Diane Kruger explains it later on in a different scene. But rewatching it, because I knew that's how he's been figured out. Right when he does like the British 3, Major Hellstrom's character, like his face changes, and that's when like the air got sucked out of me. I'm like, oh fuck. Like, it just happens. It's so good. It's such a good reveal because it's very subtle at first.
You cut out for like a good 30 seconds. But I got to tell it, but I got to just what you're trying to say.
Okay.
I didn't accidentally unplug my Wi-Fi.
Oh,
but it was good. We're good now. We're good. The recording should have been messed up. Hopefully,
that's. I mean, hasn't. That's why I do the master recording.
Right. That's very smart.
But anyway, great scene. Like, just the fact that he's found out literally for just putting up 3 fingers the wrong way. That rules. Like, because that's such a small detail that you wouldn't even think. But it's the small details that gets them found out, and everybody in the bar gets shot up. It's like
literally all of them die except 2 people, which I was very surprised about. Because I thought Michael Fassbender's character was going to be in it longer, because he seemed like they set him up so well. I was thinking, oh, he's going to be a major character, and then he literally dies in that scene. I was like, wow. And it's not the bear Jew, but the Nazi killer. What's his name?
Hugo Stilgatz.
Yeah, him. I thought he was gonna be like a major character. Stiglitz. Yeah, I thought he was gonna be a major character too, but no, he died in that scene too. It was like, wow, they really weren't pulling their punches with like that scene. Like,
Nazi bars.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Dude, oh yeah, when they shot their balls, I like outwardly screamed. Like, it looks so like, oh man.
Yeah, the blood and gore.
The violence in the movie is also pretty good. Like, it was pretty tame compared to other Tarantino movies. But when it happens, it was really going. Like,
But that's what I love about Inglorious Basterds, is that it can be funny and goofy at times, but it never takes away from the ultra serious, tense, and super dreadful moments. Like that moment when he puts up the 3 fingers and Major Hellstrom changes faces, like that's intense. Again, the opening we talked about, that's still intense, but you still have Brad Pitt going "Buongiorno" later in the movie, which is hilarious. So you can have both of these things happen in the same movie, and that's the brilliance of Tarantino. He can have this fun movie that still has these ultra serious moments that can still be taken seriously.
And that's another testament to his writing, how he can write jokes and write like serious dialogue, but all feels like the same movie. Like,
exactly.
That takes a very talented writer. And like, he's not the only person to do it. There's other people that can do it, but like the way he does it particularly is just really special.
Yeah, it's very much his own style, and that's what makes him special. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's another Tarantino movie I can cross off my list. I just watched Kill Bill last year, both the Kill Bill movies. Which is it's such a crime that it took me so long to watch those movies, but I finally did, and now I have this one to cross off. So now I think I need to watch like the Hollywood one.
Yeah, I think technically I have seen all the official Tarantino movies to see. It's just been years since I've seen a lot of them, because I've seen Reservoir Dogs. I've obviously seen Pulp Fiction. I've seen Jackie Brown again years ago. I don't remember a lot. I've seen both Kill Bills. Kill Bill Volume 1, I genuinely do think, I think for a while was seen as my favorite Tarantino. Again, I need to rewatch it to see if that still holds up, because if not, I think Pulp Fiction's my favorite. Basic answer, I know, but I can't. Pulp Fiction rules.
Yeah, no, Pulp Fiction is amazing.
Death Proof is often seen as his worst, and I never hated it. I actually liked it. I think it's probably on the weaker side of Tarantino films, but I mean, it's Tarantino, so it's still good. Then Inglorious Basterds, it's good. I love this movie. Django, it's been a while. I do remember liking it a lot. Hateful Eight, I remember liking a ton, but again, it's been a while. And yeah, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that movie ruled, but again, it's been a while, so
Yeah,
I'm going
I need
off
to
of
watch
movies
that.
I haven't seen in like 5 or 6 years at this point.
I got you. So like I've seen. So I'm looking at his list right now. I've seen Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill duology, Inglourious Basterds now, and Django Unchained. Those are the only movies I've seen. So I need to watch Hateful Eight, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Jackie Brown, and Reservoir Dogs. But I think Django Unchained. I watched that a couple years ago. Again, I think that's probably his best like general story. Like one of the things I love about Tarantino is his unorthodox storytelling. I think Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill, and Inglourious Basterds, like they're great movies, but like if you can't really follow them like in like a straight arrow like style story. If that
Right.
makes sense. This isn't a bad. That's
very
just his writing
yeah,
style.
he very much does play around with timing. Like he'll
Yeah,
not this movie, surprisingly. I feel like this is the kind of movie because it is separated into chapters and it's again an ensemble movie where you're getting different perspectives. So you'd think this would be him playing with time, where like kind of like Pulp Fiction, where he tells it out of order, but he doesn't do that. He actually tells it pretty straightforward.
yeah. But like even this movie, you still jump around to multiple different characters. And like you said earlier, there's not really a main character, but where with Django Unchained, you pretty much follow the same guy
Right.
through his entire life, and he does it in a very well and interesting way. And I think like that's probably his best like more straightforward story. I haven't seen Hateful Eight. I haven't seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Maybe he does that better in those movies. I don't know, but
Hollywood,
I think Django Unchained.
I definitely do remember. This might be a hot take. I mean, what is even a hot take anymore? But I generally do think that might be my favorite Leo performance. Is that movie?
Oh wow.
Yeah, and that
Okay.
I mean,
Well, I can't defend it because I
yeah.
haven't seen it
Well,
yet. But
Hollywood also does do something similar to Inglorious Bastards with the ending, where it kind of plays with alternate history. But
mm,
I don't want to give anything away. Like you just have to watch
yeah,
it for yourself. But
have to watch.
Inglorious Bastards does do this thing where it ends in a way that's not entirely accurate to history because
So you tell me Hitler didn't die in a cinema with all of his friends
no
while he's being shot down by what's his name? I don't remember the guy that shot him down. But continue. Yeah,
yeah
sorry, I was trying to make a really bad joke,
that's okay.
and it's going downhill.
No, they're building up this whole like the plan of blowing up the cinema with all the high ranking Nazi officials in there, ergo ending the war. And you're thinking the back of your head, well, that's not what happened. What ended up happening is Hitler shot himself in the bunker, and then the war didn't end until months later in August when we dropped the bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Right.
But what this movie does is it says, no, we're going to go through with the plan actually succeeding, where, they set the theater on fire and it's engulfed in flames. And Donnie and Omar, the two bastards that are undercover in that theater, take like machine guns and start mowing down Nazi officials in the theater, and then
That's a good scene.
straight up like literally just pelting Hitler with bullets and just blowing him up
That's
until
so
he's
great.
nothing but like a pile of red goo.
Yeah,
And then
that was so
the
great.
dynamite on the dynamite attached to their legs, to their shins, blows up, and then the cinema blows up in general. Yeah, again,
Yeah.
does not happen in real life, but
No, unfortunately not.
I'm glad the movie goes with this ending because the movie never tries to make itself historically accurate. It's telling a story. It's telling its own story. It doesn't matter if it's accurate to history or not.
Right.
And I like that. Because, and I talked about this in my review, I like that shows literally in the world of cinema, you can do whatever you want. We're not bound by anything when it
Sorry about
comes to
that.
cinema. Because I mean, we literally can write whatever we want. Because you do feel as though there's tropes and formulas that movies get kind of attached to, and they're not really able to go as far as they can. Whereas I feel like this movie doesn't do that. It's not bound by the laws of history. It's able to do whatever it wants with this ending. You know what I'm trying to say?
No, yeah, I was definitely surprised by the fact that they did go with an alternate history or alternate timeline ending compared to like what actually happened. Because I was thinking that in my kind of head. I was thinking, okay, so like the movie's gonna end with them attempting to burn everything down, and then something's gonna go wrong, and then it's gonna go back to like how we know and how it played out in history. And when Hans Landa kills what's her face's character, I was thinking, oh yeah, like they're definitely gonna fail here, and it's gonna play out like I think it's gonna play out. But then with that moment where he actually, and I said this earlier, when he flips the script and is like, oh no, I want you guys to succeed. I just want my pardons in a war. That's when I was like, wait a minute, where is this going? And then I saw the theater burn down and then burn down Hitler. I was like, oh, okay, so they're just not gonna be historically accurate. That was a very interesting choice. Like I wouldn't say it's like I think what you said was valid with the fact that like you don't have to be restrained to what other movies are doing, because most movies who aren't like writing like Tarantino probably would have done the ending I just said, where they try to line it up with history so it's more realistic. But no, they did a different ending, and I think that was an interesting choice. I wouldn't say that's like the boldest choice, the most amazing choice to me, but it was a fun choice. Like I just said, it was fun to see Hitler get mowed down with the machine gun.
Yeah, of course.
Get turned into red mud. That was fun to see. Like, who doesn't want to see that?
Right, exactly. But, I think if this movie was trying to be historically accurate, like if it was trying to be a biopic like Oppenheimer, like, if Nolan did a biopic of Oppenheimer and then halfway through the movie had Oppenheimer go, you know what? Let's not drop the bomb.
Oppenheimer time.
Yeah.
Oppenheimer is all over the place.
Yeah. Then it'd just be like, then people would put up their fingers like, I have some questions on why you thought this was okay. But here, exactly. Tarantino never makes it, he never claims this is historically accurate to begin with. So he can pull off this by the end and you're like, oh yeah, this makes sense. That's fine.
Yeah, and I agree. And like again, I don't disagree with them doing that. To me personally, I don't think it was more of a statement of like, oh, like this is like like this is a movie we can do whatever we want to. It's just like, oh, this is the choice we made in this movie. And it's like, yeah, that's a fun choice. Like I think that's a fun choice.
Yeah, always go for the fun option. I always say.
Right. Yeah.
And I do like how it ends with even though Hans does get his way and being like, yeah, I get whatever I want because I switched sides last second. But Aldo, being Aldo, just thinks, well, you're going to do things my way. And he goes, well, you're going to be living on Nantucket Island now, but you're probably going to take off your Nazi uniform. Is that right? And he's like, that's what I thought. And the whole movie he was doing this, where he was saying,
oh yeah,
just because
branding the Nazi soldiers,
branding the Nazi soldiers with a giant swastika on their forehead, so they remember.
It's a badass thing to do.
It is a very badass thing, to remind people, hey, you made that choice, so live with your choices.
You live out for the rest of your life.
Exactly. Which that's an awesome. It's a great way to end the movie, and it ends on Brad Pitt going, yeah. You know what? I think this is my masterpiece. In which case,
masterpiece right there.
It hard cuts to written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. It's like, okay, he did that on purpose.
Yeah, no, he definitely did that on purpose.
Which rules?
But good for him. This is a great movie. Like I would have entered that too if I made something that good. So
yeah. Well, I don't think this is my favorite. I already said Pulp Fiction's probably my favorite Tarantino film, but I understand why people like this a lot. I understand why it's a good movie, why it does things very well. I wouldn't say it's his masterpiece, but that's okay. I still think it's a very, very good Tarantino film.
Yeah, no, this is definitely up there. I don't know if I can say what my favorite Tarantino movie is because I haven't seen all of them. Pulp Fiction is definitely up there, and Django Unchained is up there as well. Kill Bill is just like a fun movie to watch. I saw your review of Volume 2. You're more negative on that one than Volume 1.
I do need to rewatch them. Yeah, because it has been a while since I've seen both of them. Yeah, I've never really been able to get into Volume 2. And I don't even think I can necessarily explain why. I don't know what it is about Volume 2.
Your reasons were, I felt like they were about, because I don't remember all that you said, but I think your reasons was like, you weren't really feeling the story or like the explanation of why Bill had to be killed or whatever. But I actually thought it was a fun, like, little history of like little actually more of a prequel than a sequel to the first movie of explaining what's her face's character. What's her name?
She doesn't. She's just known as the bride in
Umar
the first
Thurman.
one, but yeah,
Oh,
she.
the bride.
But
Yeah,
then
Beatrice.
I think Beatrice is her name in the second one because they
Yeah.
actually reveal it. Yeah, because they do this
Yeah.
fun thing in the first one where she's just the bride, and then every time they do say Beatrice, they bleep it out. But then,
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
but then they don't bleep it out in Volume 2, which I thought that was a weird choice. Yeah, again, maybe it's something I need to see again because there's plenty of movies that I don't vibe with at first that then I learn to appreciate later on. Or maybe this is one I'll just never be able to vibe with, and that's fine too. I don't know. It's been a while, so like I can't definitively say. I said this before. Sometimes, you know, I talked about this last episode actually, how I don't like shit talking movies that I haven't seen because I haven't given them a chance. And that goes for basically any movie, you know. I know people are going to be like, "What about this movie? You do." It's like, "No. I'm putting my foot down. I don't like shit talking movies that I haven't seen." And to add on to that, I don't necessarily like making bold claims about movies that I haven't seen in years. So again, Kill Bill's Volume 1 and 2, I haven't seen in years. So I can't really definitively say. I've seen Pulp Fiction recently enough that I know that movie's definitely at the top. So I definitely need to rewatch Kill Bill's Volume 1 and 2 at some point.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if your thoughts change at all. Because I think you're being a little too harsh on Volume 2, but like if your thoughts are the same, I understand. But I don't know where I would rank them. Pulp Fiction, because I have a history with that movie, because I've seen it a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might be my default to number one as well.
Yeah, which is totally fair. I mean, it is seen as his most popular. You know, it's literally Pulp Fiction, one of the most iconic films ever made. So it's a bit of a basic answer to say, oh, it's my favorite Tarantino, but basic or not, it still rules as a movie.
It's still a fantastic movie. Yeah. But I don't know. I would say Django Unchained probably second. And this is probably just not recency bias, but just because I have a history with both of the movies, they're still top two. But I'll probably put Inglorious Basterds in front of Volume 1 and 2.
Sure.
I think it's a little bit better in those movies just because of how tightly written they are. Not to say that Kill Bill wasn't tightly written, but I feel like I like movies that have more substance to it. Kill Bill to me is just kind of like a pure action movie, which is fine. That's what it is. Like,
that's what it is.
Pure action movie, and it's great because of it. But like for my personal preference, I do like a little bit more substance. So I would put Inglorious Basterds over Kill Bill.
Yeah. I think overall Inglorious Basterds is still definitely up there. And I still consider it a favorite movie. I added it to my favorite movies list because I think there's enough in here that I'm going to be thinking about for a long time because it does that stuff very well. Like I said, the opening, chef's kiss. And then a bunch of other things as well. Like, this is a very solid movie. I love it. And I could easily watch it again and again. It's that good. I need to watch Django Unchained. I might rank over Django Unchained because I really the thing that killed Django Unchained for me personally is just what's his name? Jamie Foxx's performance. Like he did good, but I just always remember him being more stale compared to his co-actors. Which, to be fair, he's going up against Leonardo DiCaprio, which he gave his all into that movie. It's kind of unfair. He's going up against Leonardo DiCaprio and Christoph Waltz, who was just in Inglorious Basterds, so we know he can also be a great... Jamie Foxx, I don't hate him as an actor, but again, whenever I think of Jamie Foxx...
He's a great actor.
I think of Electro, so...
Yeah. or his show, but like, I thought he was a good actor, but compared to like the other people who's acting, it just... And then he's a star of the movie, so it's like, I want to kind of root for the main actor, you know, because your name's on it. Granted, you can also say the same thing about Black Panther and Chadwick Boseman, because like I feel like he got outshined by Michael B. Jordan. But I say he was more charismatic in his movie than Jamie Foxx was in Django Unchained.
That's fair to say.
That's another argument. But yeah, I used to put Inglorious Bastard over Django Unchained just because I like the main characters in Inglorious Bastard. Even Brad Pitt's character, who's barely, we just talked about, he's barely in it, but like I like them more than Jamie Foxx. Again, I would probably put above Django Unchained, but I need to watch Django Unchained.
Again, Brad Pitt saying "Buongiorno." That's, I mean, come on, what is there to hate?
Exactly. And I didn't think about it. I love that Hans probably picked up on the fact that they were not Italian the second he met them, but
Oh
he
yeah,
just let it slide because he wanted the land to go into motion.
yeah. He
I
just wanted to
I
play
like
with
that little
them.
detail.
He wanted to play
Yeah,
with them. Yeah, the
exactly.
fact.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like yeah,
exactly. Yeah, that's
that's
what I
a
love
nice
about
little
Hans
detail.
Landa. He's a lot, like you said, he's the smartest character in the room.
Right, right. But and I said, continue what I said. He's a smartest character in the room, but he likes to wait to reveal that until the very end,
Exactly. Yeah, he
which
loves
makes
toying
him
with
really scary.
people.
Yeah, for sure.
So is there anything else we want to say about Inglorious Basterds before I talk about this Blu-ray and wrap up?
I don't think so. Yeah, I need to watch it again probably because I'll be honest, I was doing some chores. Oh, I was watching it. It probably wasn't the best thing to do with this movie because, like you said earlier, it's 40% English, and I had to stop what I was doing just to read the subtitles. So I might have missed a couple of things.
Not
Being
now,
completely
Hans
transparent.
Landa. I'm folding laundry.
Right. Oh, they're talking in German. I gotta stop what I'm doing. But
Hunt
no,
those Jews
I still had
later.
a
I'm folding laundry.
exactly, but no, I still had a blast with this movie. A fun time. Probably one of the best scripts Tarantino has written. And it's not saying much because he's written banger scripts every single time.
Of
At
course.
least the movies I've seen. So I gave it 4 stars on Letterboxd. I think that won't change if I watch it again. So great movie.
Yeah, I kept it an 8 out of 10. I think it's gonna stay an 8 out of 10 because I'm not.
Yeah,
it's not like super special that it deserves the 9 or 10 rating, but like I mean, an 8 for me is still very, very good.
No, that's above average for me because I usually give movies 3 stars or 7 out of 10 or whatever. So
Right. Yeah. So
four,
it's
4 stars is solid.
yeah, very good movie. I love it. I'm keeping the Blu-ray because it looked great on Blu-ray. And I just love it so much, and I'm keeping it. It's staying in the collection. Another
Yeah,
Tarantino film for the collection. How about that?
nice. I need to go out and buy more physical movies. I've been slacking on that. I just like on a whim a couple weeks ago bought the Captain America trilogy on
Ooh.
Blu-ray, and I haven't opened it yet. But it's the original trilogy, like First Avenger, Winter Soldier, and Civil War. All the Captain America movies are like some of my
I
favorite in the
do,
MCU.
yeah, I do feel like I need to have the Captain America trilogy specifically because the MCU is weird because it's like
Mhm.
which movies do I want to own from the MCU? Because there are movies from the MCU I do want on physical media.
Yeah,
It's just I'm trying to figure out which ones I do want. But
all worthy of it.
I think the Captain America trilogy is definitely a worthy addition. It's just
Yeah.
I don't know when I'll have time to actually go buy it and when
I
I'll
got it for
actually.
pretty cheap too. It was like $20, and it was around the time the Anthony Mackie Captain America movie was out. So,
Mm.
um, yeah, it's probably like like they all this Captain America merchandise. Oh, look, the original trilogy here. You can buy that. I was like, sure, I'll buy into your propaganda. This I'll get this movie or these reviews. But I the other MCU movies I have the first Avengers movie. I think I have Endgame and Infinity War. Do I have any Iron Man movie? I don't think I do. I think that's it. Is this the?
Yeah.
Oh no, I have Guardians of the Galaxy. I have Guardians.
I
Yeah,
think the
that's the
Guardians
one I
and the
had.
Spider-Man movies I definitely would also own. I think
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
else is kind of up in the air of do I
yeah.
want this or can I just watch this on
Do we
Disney
have
Plus if
volume?
I feel like it, you know?
Yeah, I'm gonna have volume 2 as well. I gotta check, but now definitely for sure I had the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Mhm.
Yeah, but yeah, that's all these movies I can think of off the top of my head. I want to get Age of Ultron too, because like that.
Mm.
Well, one to complete the collection. 'Cause I have all the Avengers movies at Age of Ultron, but Age of
Right.
Ultron is actually like not a bad movie. It's not as good as the other Avengers movies, but like it's pretty solid.
I've
Like
always had a
it
soft
gets a
spot
lot
for
of
Age
hate.
of Ultron, you know?
Yeah, yeah, Age of
Yeah.
Ultron's pretty good.
I don't
Um,
love it, but like I said, I've always had a soft
there's good
spot
stuff
for it.
going on in it. There's
Yeah.
good stuff. There's good stuff, better stuff than people giving credit for
Yeah,
at least.
I do need to do a whole MCU retrospective. I just haven't decided if I want to do that for the podcast or if I do it for like Letterboxd. I don't know because
I got
I don't know how I would go about that, but I need to.
yeah.
Obviously not this summer because this summer is going to be about Superman, but
Oh yeah, yeah. In fact, the next video I'm working on hopefully will be out before that, so hopefully that will tie into that. So
mhm,
we'll see. This video taking me a long time to make, but yeah, I'm very excited for the new Superman movie.
nice.
It looks pretty good from what I've seen.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um All right. Perry, why don't we end it here? So before we go, though, why don't you shout out your stuff, dude? Where can people find you?
You can just find me in my apartment. My address is 56 Applewood Lane. I'm just kidding. No, you can follow me. You can follow me on my YouTube channel. It's kind of dead right now. I'm like I just said earlier. I'm working on a video. I feel like that's what I said the last time I was on this channel a year ago. But
I mean,
I am working on a video. Go ahead,
listen. You are not the only person who comes on this channel. It's just like I'm working on a video, and then it's years later. I'm still working on that video. Like everybody says that.
But it's actually going to come out. It's like halfway done.
It's why I bring you guys back, so then you could at least get some content out there.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that. I also have a second channel where I do post like more like shorter content, but I haven't posted on either because I've been working on my main video stuff. But subscribe to my channel if you want to eventually see that movie my video before the end of the year. Also, I stream on Twitch sometimes. I'll send Hal the link to that. You can maybe follow me on there, and that's about it. Yeah, just YouTube and Twitch right now. But thank you again, Hal, for allowing me to come back in. I kind of hijacked your podcast because I know you banned me after the Tom and Jerry episode, but I really appreciate you not kicking me out immediately and letting me stay on for this. Hope you won't call the police.
Since you brought it up, I guess I do have to punish you next time for doing the Tom and Jerry movie that last time.
All right, I guess we're watching Food Fight next.
But that means I'd have to watch Food Fight. No, I have not done Food Fight.
Actually, we should do that.
We should do Food Fight. Okay, let me.
Yeah, you know have to suggest it.
Well, I guess I have. Yeah, I'll have to find a movie that's like. You know what? I have to find another bad animated movie I own then to pair with Food Fight. So, all right, let me go think about that. So.
Okay, cool. All right, next episode we'll definitely do that.
Sure. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.